am joining you from an American beach with crashing waves, and I want to talk about
how to prepare like a pro with Henry Brand, right here on the Beach Court Podcast. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really is a huge benefit for us. Now, we hope you enjoy our interview with world champion Henry Brand.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Beach Court Podcast. We have an incredible guest on today. We have none other than the Henry Brand, all the way from Melbourne, Australia. He's actually in the U.S. We'll talk a little about that later. But Henry is not only a three-time regional champion, but he's also the 2019 world champion for the trading card game. So, Henry, we're thrilled to have you on. How you doing? How you feeling today?
Good. Thank you, guys. Well, as I'm sure some people know, my current trend seems to be walking on beaches and talking. But this time, that's why I kind of like, the beach court's kind of adjacent. I'm not doing very much walking, but, we've got half of the criteria, Matt.
I got my background on just for you today.
Whoa, there we go. I should have set that up.
Yeah, Henry walked in all the way to the Beach Court Podcast, so
Yes,
thrilled to have you. But I know we have a lot to kind of talk about. Again, you've been doing a great job lately with all these like walk-in talks of this, advice and basically free coaching for a lot of the community. But before we dive into Henry the Pokemon player, I want to get to know a little bit about Henry the person, and what kind of led you into this walk-in talker that you are today. So. And first off, on the Pokemon side, what's your favorite Pokemon and your favorite generation of Pokemon, Henry?
Milotic is my favorite Pokemon because it looks very similar to this fish I really like with the Oarfish. And in China recently, their like biggest tournament ever. I think ever, but anyway, they had this huge opening ceremony. It made Worlds look like a League Cup. It was like crazy, and they had this Milotic like swimming along like the screen or along the ceiling or something. Yeah, it was incredible. So that I got to go to China.
That's sick.
I want to see it for sure. I mean, that sounds like really cool intros. I'm excited to, see where that takes you. You say you're kind of excited about anime, so I have to ask you because I'm really pumped about it. But have you watched Horizons yet?
No, I haven't. I loved it when I was a kid. I haven't watched it much lately, but I heard good things.
Horizons is very good. I really like it. I'm a big fan. So
yeah, I'll check it out.
You have to watch it for sure.
Okay, deal. That sounds great. Yeah.
All right, Henry. So what's your favorite thing to do when you're not playing Pokemon? Are you big animal guys? Is something with the Oarfish or something else entirely?
Well, I think if I was able to do anything with the Oarfish, I'd probably be in the wrong part of the world. I think they live about 1,000 meters below the surface, so I think I might be having a trouble then. But no. I mean, I really like that stuff. And when I'm traveling, I love going to like the zoos and the aquariums and museums and stuff. But I mean, in my own personal time, like, I mean, you guys know this, I do Pokemon like, full time basically. And so I try and do as anything like non-game related. So I play a bit of piano, I go rock climbing, like, anything else like that. Those are my two main like hobbies outside of Pokemon right now. So yeah, I'm trying to just indulge those as much as I can.
Yeah, that sounds fun. I rock climbing. I was never good at it. I tried.
Yeah.
I was never good at it. That's scary.
Yeah.
If you had one career that you had to do that wasn't Pokemon, like what would it be? Like, what's your kind of like career interest?
Ooh. Oh man, I mean, this is a long topic. I kind of ended up in Pokemon because it felt like I could indulge a lot of different interests rather than just one career. But I was really heavily considering being a zoologist for a long time.
Oh.
So yeah, like big on animals, and yeah, it was zoologist or archaeologist was the two for a while.
Okay.
But no, so we ended up with Pokemon.
Interesting.
Kind of like the study of a different fictional animal.
Yeah, kind of right. Similar.
All right, and Henry, we know you're famous for your walk-in talks. Again, if you could go anywhere in the world to do a walk-in talk for all your followers on Twitter, what's that backdrop going to be?
Okay, I do have a list that I was starting to think I should probably keep like keep track of where I've done them so far. Like put pins on the map. I absolutely should. I think it would be Okinawa because it's like it's a sick place. It's in Japan, home of Pokemon. Why not? I think Okinawa would be it.
Well, I have a proposition for you.
What
What if you could do it with Steve Irwin in the background, like filming an episode? That'd be kind of cool.
It'd be kind of cool. We would have to get him back from the past the grave.
Yeah,
but
back. Or his son. His son can do it.
Yeah, I'll meet Robbie. See what we can do. Actually, while we're on the icebreaker, I've had this like side project. I mean, it's kind of beyond what I want to be doing, but where I would love to make like videos comparing the real animal to the Pokemon inspired, and then try and use that as like a funnel for like conservation. I think it'd be so cool. But it's maybe eventually.
Yeah,
that sounds fun.
That's a fun series. I like that. So
yeah,
I was like Pokemon concierge, like it could be a whole series, you know, but
Yeah,
Pokemon zoologist, you know, I don't know.
absolutely.
with Henry Brand.
Yeah.
All right, and lastly, again, I know you're doing some travel in the U.S., so
Yeah.
again, you hail from Melbourne, Australia, very very far from the east coast of Florida and the Jacksonville beach where you're visiting on this episode of the podcast. So yeah, how's the U.S. travel going? We're gonna see you in Anaheim. What's the plan?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So, I mean, it's great. It was actually this is like worth talking about, but it's a bit unfortunate. So when I traveled to the States, I had like some, health stuff that makes me a little bit susceptible to travel. And usually I try and get to like events really far in advance, to try and like make sure that's all good. But for NAIC, I kind of cut it a bit too close. And so by the time the tournament came around, like I wasn't in a condition to play. So I didn't end up playing. And then like I've got some family in the States, which is who I'm visiting at the moment. So I figured, you know what, like if I go back home and come back, it's just going to be a whole problem again. So I'm just going to, I'm staying with them visiting until Worlds. And then, we'll go hang out there. It'll be great.
Fantastic. I know you visited
Yeah.
Chicago. I'm sure you've seen some other Pokemon folks while you're getting some time in the States. All that.
Oh yeah,
so-
man. It's been fun actually. I've seen so much of the States this time because I, visited my cousin in Chicago, and then I saw Jake Gearhart, who probably looks more like my cousin than my actual cousin does. But it's it's great. And no, I've had a really good time.
That's awesome. Well, looking forward to seeing you in Anaheim. Hopefully in good health. I know you're delivering a talk and stuff there with Kieran Farrow. So shout out to them.
Yeah,
for their
I'm actually very sad I'm not going. Like, I probably like, I was like looking forward to, like, when I saw that, I was like, oh my God, that'd be like really cool to come and see. So I hope you guys like record it and like we get to see it because that sounds awesome.
No, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be really fun, and it was good. I was like talking to them, like, and I was like, "Look, guys, like, I want to do this. I don't want to get paid for it. Like, what's the like minimum we can do? Given that I don't want to be paid. Like, let's just like get it done." And I think it's come out at like a really good price, and it's been great. So, hopefully, it's really fun for everyone.
Set up a live stream. Let people donate.
Yeah.
And
I think it's happening. Kieran said he might try to get on Metafy. So
Okay, bet.
we'll see that.
I mean,
Kinda
I'm like,
cool.
it looks super cool. There's some awesome people doing. You guys are doing great work. Like, keep doing it.
Yeah, it should be cool. So it'd be awesome.
Wanted to take a quick break to thank our sponsor, FCBC Armor. Here at the Beach Court Podcast, whether we're having fun playing our favorite Rogue deck at locals or gearing up for the World Championships, we trust FCBC card sleeves to protect our cards throughout our tournament runs and to shuffle easy while doing so. Pick up some sleeves of your own at fcbcarmor.com at the link in the description. Anyways, back to the episode.
All right. So if we're talking about the great work, right, we do need to talk about, Henry's great work in preparing to, make it to the esteemed title of world champion, but then continue to improve on how, not only, how he himself improves, but how everyone else kind of around him and in his community and in students improve there. So, Henry, help give us a little bit of glimpse into like, how you started, what's your kind of story getting started into the TCG? Again, at one point you go from picking up a Pokemon card for the first time to like, hey, I can maybe actually be pretty good at this. So like, how was that journey for you?
Yeah, 100%. So I guess the way I got into cards in the first place in Pokemon is like everyone, my parents bought me a booster pack of cards, and I really liked it. I was like 4 years old, I think, and I ended up like wanting to learn how to read because of it. So I just like started learn like read nice and early, and then I just wanted to read what this one Articuno did, and then I found it was fake years later, and my heart broke. But that's everyone's had that experience.
That's everyone's children's experience.
Literally,
You're like, I found this
everyone's
Articuno that does
children's
10 million damage.
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
steals
Well,
your opponent's deck. So.
I know, it's ridiculous, So unfortunately, my heart did recover from that. But no, so I like the cards. I never played. I didn't understand how the rules worked for a long time. I played chess tournaments from when I was about 9 until like 14 maybe. And then when I was about 13, I went to like my local EB Games, which is kind of like a GameStop.
Yeah.
And they had a league. And I learned how to play there. I had a like great teacher there who taught me how to play. And then I kind of went from there. I went to Worlds in seniors in 2014, my last year of it. I played Pyro Landorus. I don't know if anyone knows what that is, but the Pyro back there was like a wall deck. I did not very good, but it was fun. It was great. And then I think one of the earliest things though that I have memory of is like I had these regionals in seniors, and the first one I went to, I played like I took some advice of some other people, and I played this like Blastoise deck, and I did so bad. Not like terribly, but like I didn't do that well. And I was like, no, you guys are full of it. So I was confident in my own like thing, and I came up with a deck, And then it was pretty much only good in seniors. It was an aromatisse deck. And then I won the 2 seniors regionals with, 10 people per tournament back to back. And so it's very big accomplishment, I know. But I think that's a good example already, which is something I'd love to talk about later, about how like it's way better to be more confident in whatever you want to play than it is to play the best deck or take advantage there. And that's something I've been talking about a lot. But so I went from that seniors, and then, everyone has school. So, they take a break. I played a lot less. I just played so in my first Masters regionals I played that year, I got top 8. And then I, didn't play for another year, and then I played locally. And then eventually we get all the way to 2019, I think. I think it was maybe end of 2018. And there's the IC coming up in Melbourne, which unfortunately, do you guys ever go to that?
We never
No,
made it.
dude. No, I mean, so we started in super competitively in 23 Japan year, and we were literally all right, we're going to Australia next season, it's gonna happen. And then of course they got rid of OCIC, and
Yeah.
we were devastated. We were devastated.
Yeah, man, it's so upsetting though. I mean, it's funny because now with the price increase, Melbourne Regionals basically just the IC, but it's funny. So we're the IC, and all my friends who still played, they were like, "Dude, you got to come to this tournament." I was like, "All right, okay, I'll do it." So I started warming up a little bit, and I played sparingly before. I'd cut a couple Masters Regionals before then, the year before, but I hadn't played for a while. I was a really big I was a big League of Legends guy for a while. I've recovered now. But so I was, really big into that. And then I went to this tournament, and I got top 8, and I was like, sick. All right, that's pretty cool. And then my friend's like, there's a regional in a month, and I was like, yeah, I guess you should probably go to that. And so it was Perth Regionals, and then so I won that Perth Regionals, and then there was another. I was like, cool, I did pretty well. I'll go to the next one. There was a regional in Sydney, and then I came second there. And then it just kind of snowballed. I did really bad at one of the ICs, but I maintained that one was not on me. But because Stefan won the tournament with the same deck that I played, so that I built for him. No, we built it together, but no, it was good. It was really good. And then eventually, Worlds came around, and there you are. But I really do think that the background in chess tournaments and stuff really helped.
Okay.
What do you think? Sorry, go ahead, man.
I was gonna say, I mean, help break us down, right? Right from, hey, I'm playing some Masters tournaments casually, right? And then you show up in this incredible 2019 run, right? What was that breakout moment, right? I mean, I guess, and you mentioned the chess helped, right? Was that a piece there? Was there something that clicked in your head, or were you able to see far enough into the game? Help break that down a little bit. What made you different that made that 2019 run so special?
Okay. Yeah, I think a lot of it was playing much more. I'd always play quite sparingly in the 2018 season. I got some top cuts and stuff, but it was quite sparingly, and I wouldn't really test very much. And then I think 2019 was really taking it more seriously, and that was a big step. I still remember the 2019 tournament being that IC being great, because I hit all of it, the old team DDG. So Azul, Danny, Jimmy, Isaiah, and I think I tied to one of them, but I beat all of the others, and it was so cool. Back then, I was it's not too bad, but they won so many tournaments, and then it was great. And I remember one of them was I can't remember who it was, but they're oh, we just lost to some random Australian. And then back then, the Australians knew me, and they're oh no, that wasn't. He's not random. He's actually kind of good. And that was my big thing. I was yeah, you guys are talking all this trash, it's lost some random Australians beating us all, and that was the kind of thing. It'd be yeah, I just got them all back to back. This should be all right. So that was a nice little moment. It's fun to look back at that. But no, I think the biggest thing was just taking it seriously.
And months later, they're oh, I mean, he won Worlds, so obviously, it was fine to lose to him back at OCIC, right?
Exactly, it justifies it back to back. So no, but like you guys said, I mean, it was taking it seriously for me, and putting skills from other things. I think the biggest thing actually that was different, I know I mentioned earlier, but basically I got this mindset at some point, which was basically you got to have enough confidence that you don't get you don't make mistakes due to being intimidated.
Yeah.
But you also have to have enough humility to not underestimate your opponent as well. So you got to figure out some kind of balance. And the way I used to do it to myself is okay, my opponent's good, but I'm better. That was kind of like the way that 19-year-old me used to do it. But now I'm kind of like, okay, we need to strike more of a Teflon balance. But I still think that completely applies. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely something there. Like, you have to go in, like, with, the respect for your opponent, like, especially at Worlds, right? When you go to World, everyone here has earned their way here. They're, top player in their region. Yes, they're top player, but I've prepared better. I know the matchups better, right? Like, and we'll talk about preparation in a little bit. But I then want to kind of pick your brain about the chess piece. What's the single most important skill that translates from chess to Pokemon, and how do you apply it?
Okay, so I don't know if there's a chess specific skill. Basically, it's just like being able to see moves and moves ahead. And it's really simple in chess. It's not so simple. It's simply laid out in Pokemon because you can't visualize it as well. So on a chessboard, you move one piece, then they move one piece, and it's like exactly numerical how many steps ahead you can look. In Pokemon, it's way more spread out because like we don't just do like one thing per turn. You do like tons, right? And there's probability and everything. But that like being able to see moves ahead and trying to like structure your thought to be able to do that is what it is, I think. And I think that's huge. I mean, you should be able to, in Pokemon, especially if you played the matchup 15 times, you should be able to see the end of the game from like turn 2. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 2019, it's a lot of playing the matchups, knowing how your deck is going to fare into them, and then seeing the moves ahead a little bit as well to put yourself in a good position and say, okay, and you feel like you could see that further than a lot of your opponents at the time potentially.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think so. There's a couple of things for 2019. I mean, people were very good, but it wasn't like the metas when it was developed. I don't think it was such a bizarre thing to like have that Mewtwo deck and have no one else in the room really have it. Even like Tord having like Welder Box as well and no one else having it. Like you would never have that now. The two best decks in the format just weren't found by Worlds. I mean, that's unbelievable, right? Like, yeah, it just won't happen again. And so that was a really big advantage, obviously. But no, I mean, I just played a ridiculous amount of Pokemon, and I think anyone will say that they only played a ridiculous amount. The one thing that also carried over from chess, and you guys might have seen this, and this is the way I approach it, is like just like the language and the terminology. Like chess has a really, really well fleshed out like lexicon, I guess. And so like terms to describe everything. And it's really easy to think about and intellectualize the game when you have that framework. But it's not that easy without that. And if you come from something where you do that, you like automatically think about the game in a more structured way. And that's like I think it was a big advantage as well.
I know you had a good talk on like the waiting move and like that, even that concept of like a waiting move in chess being a very like fully developed concept, be able to say, okay, how can I slightly advance my board in Pokemon while not fully, and like put more of the onus on my opponent to fall into a trap or to make a mistake move type of thing or overextend.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, also the other thing that helped, I mean, I had like my dad taught me chess when I was like 4. And so like having that, like someone teach you a strategy game in such like, detailed ways, and also not letting you win ever is, I think, also good for that kind of thing, right?
Okay, so how old were you when you first beat him?
Well, unfortunately for me, he was very good at chess, so it.
Have you never beat him?
Not by the age of 14. I beat him once, like a few years ago. But
okay, all right.
Yeah, no.
Was that like like? Did you guys celebrate that? Did you go like get a trophy case and like implant it in like family history?
No, I think he said that he was tired. So.
Oh, of course, Dad was tired. Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, it's like oh, they top deck boss. So could have done anything about it.
Yeah. So I do want to. I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here, if you allow us. You're coming from a chess background, right? And chess has chess clocks. What's your take on Pokemon's time rules, and how would you fix them?
Okay, excellent. Love this. This is good. So, I mean, quickly, I'll just address. I mean, I think chess clocks are not the answer. Basically, it would cause. Okay, this is actually a really fun discussion. So, there's the game of Pokemon, and there's a match of Pokemon. Yep. And a match of Pokemon is played within the context of a tournament, and a game of Pokemon is a completely different thing. Right. So, I love playing the game of Pokemon. I don't really like playing the tournaments of Pokemon.
Agreed.
So. Yeah, so a lot of the top players in Pokemon, and I think I've distinctly caused myself tournament disadvantage over the years by not trying to play like the tournament games, but your win rate gets a lot higher in tournament settings than it would be in game settings if you take full advantage of what you can. Now, for me, that's not like the Pokemon I like to play, but there's nothing wrong with it either, right? Like you're playing a tournament. So chess clocks, I don't think are the answer, because what tournament time rules does is it artificially warps the meta and it pushes it further away from a game of Pokemon into like a tournament. So the more you try and mess with the time rules, the trickier it gets. So chess clocks kind of do that because they would like artificially dial like what decks are decent and everything. Yeah, and I think also you have like so many actions, like your
Right.
opponent has to shuffle during your turn, which dictates how much time of your clock. It's not ever a practical
Right.
solution.
Agreed.
In terms of managing the time, I think best of one is fine if you could ever simulate the most amount of rounds. I actually think the best way to manage it is, so I will also talk about that, like the time rules have to also exist within the logistics of the tournament. And
Yeah.
that's the problem that Pokemon
Right.
Company has.
Yeah.
And it's not that they don't want to give us an hour per round, it's that they can't. So, striking a balance between tournament function and integrity is big. I like the asymmetric day one. Have you guys seen that?
No, I don't think I have.
Is that like the old world's format? Like once you hit a certain threshold, then this is the Chinese where you
Sorry,
queue
not
up, where you-
not asymmetric, asynchronous.
yeah, it's when you complete a match, you
asynchronous.
queue
Oh,
up
yeah,
for
yeah,
another.
asynchronous.
Sorry,
round.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I love
Asynchronous.
It's not, but like it just seems
Well,
like,
like,
can't you game it though?
Well,
I mean, isn't
and
it very
yeah.
gameable?
Henry, can you explain it real quick just for anyone who's listening who
sorry.
doesn't know?
100%. Yeah. Okay. So basically, you get an app. You have an app, and you basically just queue up like it's CCG Live, and then it just pairs you with someone. You go play, and then you're done, and then you play again. And I think you have to get. I'm not completely sure on the qualifying requirements. I don't know if you have to get a score. If you have to get. Sometimes I've seen that you have to win a certain amount in a row. Like maybe you have to win 3 in a row. But yeah, basically it allows you to just spam a whole lot of games really quick. And it means that there's not as much like time between rounds and wasted time.
Yeah.
So logistically, it's great. Logistically, it's fantastic.
Take your lunch when you want to take your lunch. All those things. Like there's a lot of good benefits I see from that.
Yeah.
And
It also does however, skew slightly because obviously, if you can play unlimited amount of rounds, then faster decks get favored because you can play more games during the day. You will never get a perfect system ever.
Yeah, ever. I agree with
But
that.
we try and get the best of what we can. So
Yeah.
some kind of like asynchronous capped amount of rounds would be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. I'm just worried about like the gamesmanship of like, but just use like Azul and Tor. They never want to play each other. So they'll stand next to each other. Azul, you pair. Okay, you got somebody? Cool, I'll pair now. Like that kind of thing's a little unnervy for me, but I agree with you. Like the asynchronous sounds pretty cool. Like it does sound pretty cool.
I think in that instance, like I kind of get what you mean, but at the same time, like surely the asynchronous is done when there's too many people to have a normal tournament structure. And if there's 10,000 people and you're narrowing down 9,000, you would assume that Azul and Tord would end up in the top 1,000 anyway.
Sure.
So I think the gamesmanship is mitigated a little bit, but
fair.
yeah, I think
That's fair.
That's fair.
Interesting take. Thanks for that tangent. Sorry.
Pleasure.
Alex, I went off.
All good.
Off script.
So I think I want to take back, some of the prep. Again, you talk about, playing a lot of Pokemon, bringing a lot of these fundamentals from like a strategic game into a successful run. So I think like transition, post world champion, right? Once you are world champion, right? We've been from there, right? You've continued to succeed, right? You've won regional in the post-COVID era as well. I guess like how has your preparation changed, or how do you approach it with your students, or in the classes that you have coming up, or other things like that? How do you go and approch that preparation now that's maybe different than what 19-year-old Henry who says I'm just better than you, for a lot of aura there, right? Like so, or maybe it's the same, right? I mean, break that down for us a little bit.
No, so I think even back then I had a decent mindset. Obviously, like I was being slightly facetious with what I was saying, but I think the big thing back then, and I remember actually like talking to someone, like I was visiting I'm visiting my family right now, and I was visiting them before Worlds that year, and they were like, oh, do you think you're gonna do well? And I was like, I think there's no reason why I couldn't win. I don't like statistically, I probably am not going to, but I don't think there's any reason why I shouldn't. And I think you can't go into a tournament thinking like you're not good enough to win anyway. You need to be like aware, but otherwise, like if you put some like artificial limit on yourself, then you're already gonna not do well. And so that but the main thing about that mindset is that like clearly, like I wasn't like, I'm gonna win, right? Because it's just not feasible to like think that you're gonna win the world championships in a card game with like variants. Like you can try your absolute best. But you run the day like 10 more times and maybe you only win 3 of them. And I think that would be a lot. Like if you played the same tournament 10 times and you won 30% of the time, that would be like crazy high.
Yeah.
Right. So clearly, basically what I mean is that like I was focused a lot on like just getting as good as I can and enjoying like the game and and not being too focused on that result, but like being confident in like, I'd done all the work and I've gotten to a point that I was happy about. So basically I had like external validation sources other than just the tournament. And so it's the way you like look, like you're confident with your views in the game on the game. You're happy with the way you think about it. You're happy with the way you play. You're happy with like this your theoretical understanding of Pokemon. There's how well you can put that into practice. How well do you actually play compared to how well you can think about the game? And there's always a disconnect between that. Like it's, playing a tournament is a skill, right? I mean, how many hours do we have to sit down for? 9, 10, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So,
long
I mean,
days.
12 some
It's a
days. I
skill.
mean, it's 8 to 8 some,
Yeah.
some days.
Oh, I mean, tell me about it, right? Like it's endurance, there's a
Right.
whole other thing. So I think that kind of was a really big thing leading up to it. I mean, I guess afterwards, I mean, how do you guys kind of want to hear about what kind of happened afterwards?
Yeah. I mean, like, just tell us, like, what does your prep look like today? Like, if you're going to prepare for a
Yeah.
tournament, what does that look like? Is it a certain number of games? Is it, theory
Yeah.
theory crafting more than anything else? Like, what does your preparation
Okay.
strategy look like for every tournament?
Okay, so it depends, I think. My goals in terms of Pokemon over the last year have shifted a lot. So I'm going to talk about my prep before that and my prep now as 2 very different things.
Perfect.
So my prep before was like really obsessive. And I think you have to be like really good at anything. You have to be like unbelievably obsessive. And anyone who tells you otherwise is not not right. Like the best at anything are unbelievably obsessive. And so what I would do, like, let's say you got 2 weeks from a tournament, like I would just be thinking about it nonstop. And I was talking about one of the Cameron brothers, Owen, and we were talking about like testing, and he's like, yeah, like I feel like half of my testing I just do like in my head on the train to university. Which I think is crazy, right? But it does kind of make sense. Like you think about a matchup a lot and you like look through the lines and you play through it. And then like once you have an idea, right, then you can go test it to make sure that, it appears at the frequency that you think and that you didn't miss something. But a lot of the theory you can definitely do separately. So, I would just think nonstop, like, what do I want to play? What deck do I like? What do I want it to beat? Can I come up with anything that beats the stuff that I hate? You know what I mean? Like I would really get stuck in and I love the deck building component of the game. And so I would spend a lot of time doing that. But I also think that if you build your own deck, you can play it way better as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
have you guys ever done that? Have you come up with like your own deck and played at a tournament?
I've had some ideas and done some things.
Yeah.
I've played Sky Seal Stone to a tournament, so
There we go. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, I think at least in a lot of my era, right, there's some of the mindset of, like, we have a lot of these lists to go off of, and there are plenty of decks, like a Movie Max, you can throw 4 bad cards in that, and it would still function as a deck, type of thing. I think, it's really cool to see, like, a brand new innovation of ideas, so just to shout you out again, the Dragapult Zoroark, right? I know Stefan played that to a very quietly understated 17th place at NAIC, but I picked up that deck and was playing it a lot after NAIC.
much
Like really
fun.
enjoyed like just the options there, how much draw, and you could just build like ridiculous boards where you can see so
Yeah.
many cards. So
That story was so funny. Like I want to I'll touch on my current prep, but this is an outlier. So I put so much time into like, man, like I don't want to play Grimmsnarl. Everyone I was testing with was playing Grimmsnarl. Like I'm playing Grimmsnarl. Like I'm not doing it, man. My deck will either have like for about 3 weeks before the tournament, I was like, my deck's gonna have either a Drakloak or a Zoroark in it. I was like,
Figure
it's
mine
gonna
out
have one of
both.
the two.
not bad.
Yeah, and then anyway, and then I ended up and I got there and I was testing like, okay, let's try Dragapult Pidgeot, let's try these different things. And I had reasoning for it. And I'd play it and after an hour, I'd be like, nope, this isn't it. I drop it. And then I was like, hold on a minute. Let's try Dragapult Zoroark. Because like I basically had that comedic thing of like, I'm gonna have one or the other. Wait, what if I try both? And And I tried it, and then unlike the other ones, after 2 hours, I'm still playing it.
There you go.
And then I was winning games. So I was like, okay, this might be it. And then everyone was like, this is ridiculous, Henry. It's like Wednesday. The tournament's on Friday. Like, you can't be doing this. And I tell everyone never to do this. And I'm the most guilty party possible. But
Yeah, I mean, I literally remember you doing it for Worlds last year. Like, I was talking
Worlds
to you.
last year was slightly different. But
Like,
yeah.
I was talking to you, and you were like, what's going on? You know, like, oh, I'm trying this idea. So I'm sitting there watching, and I'm like, bro, what is happening with this Bayonet here? Like, what is going on?
Oh yeah, the Bayonet. Yeah.
Like, I remember
That day was
coming up on
awesome.
you.
That deck was awesome.
Pretty sure you picked it up like
yeah.
that week. Like, you started playing it like that week. Is what you told me.
Yeah, I built it on the Tuesday and then I picked it up. So I ended up picking it because I wasn't well for that tournament, and so I wanted to play something that I'd have fun with, and so
Sure.
I went for it. But no, the Dragon Ball Zoro was great and it ended up working. But I mean, I love that kind of stuff. Like, if you guys, I'm sure you know, but I built a whole bunch of weird decks over the years, and I find it a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm a type of person where I like the same thing. I like those innovative, fun ideas, and then
Mhm.
like I'll wimp out. You know, like
Yeah.
Atlanta. I was like working on something and didn't go for it, and then what was it last year? Portland, Max, when I like almost played Cross Switcher Maridon. Like what's
Oh
it?
yeah, he had some cooked up stuff. Yeah,
Like I
he
had
brought,
like a
League
really
Cups,
fun
yeah.
like Cross Switcher Maridon list like back when Cross Switcher was legal, and dude, it was cooking, man.
Yeah.
I played the Magnazone V, and I was
Oh yeah.
I was cooking, bro. I just couldn't
Oh
pull the
my
trigger, but
goodness.
I played it the cup, and I
Yeah,
I want like X2 or something like that in the cup.
Okay.
So
There you go. I
Yeah.
think the main thing that I guess what I want to highlight is like there are formats where I don't try and do that as well, right? The main thing is that like I want to always be playing something I enjoy. And if I don't enjoy any of the current decks, I'm going to try my best to build one that I enjoy. And I think that's the point.
Yeah.
Like, I've got my limitless page you can see, but I played a ton of Gardevoir. I played a ton of Zoroark decks in the old era. And I mean, I didn't necessarily build those or innovate those, not all of them at least. And so it's just like I have something that I like to play, and I'm not going to play anything I dislike. And I really encourage this because you play so much better if you're having fun. It's just not even close.
You're not wrong about that.
Yeah, it's not even close.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your prep like now? That it sounds like you've maybe taken
Yeah.
a different approach.
Yeah, I mean, I competed at a much reduced rate than I used to. I only played I only played 4 tournaments this season, I think. Yeah, I only played. Was it 3 or 4? It was 3 or 4. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, so I only played that many this season, and yeah, it was. I mean, it was good. But a lot less. I tried to just play like a really good deck, and I tried to not think about like my tournament, like it's trying to build crazy stuff. Basically just because I wanted to allocate my time differently. Like I
Sure.
wanted to spend more time on coaching and more time on other stuff. And if I tried to go down the rabbit hole again, it just wasn't gonna it wasn't gonna be a goose to my time. So I thought I'd just focus on that. And the other thing as well is that like once you've got the core skills of Pokemon down, I promise you can play whatever you want as long as you're okay with it. Like deck choice just doesn't matter. And so I was like, cool, I'm just gonna play something like super standard, super stable, and I'll probably do okay. And it worked out reasonably well throughout the season. So.
Yeah. I love some of the main takeaways, and for everyone else, right? Things we've talked about plenty before is, play a deck that you're comfortable with, and you play better if you're having fun. Like, I mean, I think at its
I mean,
core,
it's
like
simple advice, but it's good, right?
yeah, exactly. I mean, you want to enjoy what you're playing and know what you're playing.
Yeah.
No.
There's one other thing as well. I mean, like
Mhm.
this is like a little bit riskier advice, and actually, like quick one I'm going to talk about it. The thing you mentioned where I'm doing this like talk later on, but basically, like I'm going to talk about things that I try not to recommend people because if you do it wrong, it's really bad. So like secret skills. But basically, when it comes to deck building, is like if you have an idea, and you have a new really good idea, right? If it's actually a good idea and like it's novel and you'll do really well with it, someone else won't agree with you. They'll probably think it's bad, unless you've proved them otherwise, right? So if you have like one really, really strongly held belief and you can back it up with like results, then you're probably fine. So most, from Limitless now, a winning deck list changes the way the archetype's built for the rest, but it wasn't built like that before.
Yeah.
So it takes someone being confident in their idea and not listening to other people and just doing it. And then it becomes the meta afterwards. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a good way to think about it too. So
Yeah, you're not
yeah,
wrong.
I mean, yeah. So my prep used to be doing that over and over and trying to reinvent the wheel, but now I'm trying to do that with other things. So now it's grind a really good deck and play it and relax.
Yeah. So is that advice that you would give to a student you have, maybe someone who's like trying to break through for their first day too, or like, trying to push for cash at a tournament type of thing? Is that same type of advice you would give to someone?
If you want to be the best player in the world, or you want to be one of the best players in the world, you need to be completely obsessed and you should be trying to reinvent the wheel. If you want to make day twos and be a pretty good Pokemon player as your hobby, you should grind one deck that you enjoy and play it over and over.
Solid advice. I mean, that's world champion advice right there.
Yeah.
You get in the
Then
episode
get
right
better.
there, but we're not gonna. So
Yeah.
no.
So, because I think just to like
Mhm,
further clarify as well, like if you try and do the first approach where you try and rebuild the wheel, like, and you don't give it 100%, you'll get like far
Yeah.
worse results than if you
Yeah.
just chilled.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That obsession.
Yeah, Vin, let's talk
Alright.
about coaching a little bit and get into
Mhm.
like the background of like, really the theory of preparation. You focus a lot of these in your walks. What do you, when you're coaching and what you see currently, what do you think players are spending too much time doing, and what are players not spending not enough time doing? Obviously grinding games, is we know grinding people aren't grinding enough games sometimes, but what are you between those two questions, what do you see amongst your students, and what are the common things you like to teach?
Okay, so we've kind of already touched on this, like just worrying about like your deck choice, or like worrying about the meta, I guess is a better way to think about it. It's like so insignificant. Like it just doesn't matter. Trying to make a best meta call is basically min-maxing, or like worrying about having like some perfect deck list is min-maxing, and it only matters to min-max if your like base Pokemon skill level is already in like the 0.5 percentile. That's when you benefit from it, right? Because you're trying to get an edge over the other people in the 0.5 percentile. So until you feel like you get there, I wouldn't be worried about that too much. Like, yeah, we saw like I put out that survey, like the results from that are like people don't like meta breakdowns, and I think
Mhm.
that's completely accurate. I think I'm glad there was that trend, because people were getting too obsessed. People really do like deck guides, which I get because they are really cool and you get a lot of information quickly. But I also think that people tunnel on that too much, and like they're like, yeah, like I'm really good at Pokemon, but if I just had like the best deck, I'd do even better. You know what I mean? It just doesn't matter, man.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
you don't hear people saying that about chess or about like tennis. Like, oh man, dude, I could beat Roger Federer. Just give me the best racket and he's done. It's like the same thing, right? Like, yeah, it's exactly the same. So people just spend too much time on that, and people don't spend enough time trying to like beat their opponent as if it's a game of chess or something. They're trying to beat the deck that they're playing against. Like, dude, just beat your opponent. There's plenty of ways to do that.
That's interesting.
Yeah, can you
Sure.
go into that a little more? Right. I
Yeah.
mean, you sit down across from someone, and
Yeah.
you're not saying, "Hey, I'm not beating."
Like your Raging
this
Bolt
tr-
versus your opponent's Gardevoir,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my god, it's Gardevoir. Like I'm weak. I'm gonna get destroyed. Just talk about that. Let's ramble. Yeah, like
Sure.
I'm really interested to hear what you're gonna say about this topic.
Okay, so first off, like another way to like get the most out of playing is you should be excited at the prospect of beating your opponent, right? So another really good advice from my dad about chess tournaments is that like if you want to like be competitive at anything, you have to like pretend that you and your opponent are trying to kill each other. Like like you have to take it that seriously, and you also have to be kind of enjoying it as well. Like you just can't be like having fun too much. And like the tournaments that like I've just been there to have fun, I've done like worse compared to when I'm like locked in and like so in the zone. There's like people said about one of the stream games I was on that like Henry looks like he's about to kill someone, and then it was like
You're like that.
because
That's
they're like
the
you normally
mindset.
look
Yeah.
so friendly, but yeah, you look like pissed off. And I was like, yeah, you have to be. But no, so you have to at some level enjoy the fact that you are playing at someone else, because you are competing. And the whole point of competition at the end of the day, whether it's like nice or not, or whether it's flowery or not, is that you are trying to be better than the person that you're paired against, and you are trying to beat them. And like you have to at some level look forward to the prospect of like, cool, if I win, like you have won. Like you haven't just beat Grimmsnarl, or you haven't just played the cards down. Like you have succeeded. You've had victory. It's like stuff that I guess is not typically the most flowery stuff, but in a competition, it's what it is. So I think that people try and play too much the deck, and then there's also another out as well. This is really important. Is that like if you lose and you're focusing about the deck, then you lost to the deck and not the player. And the hit to you as a person and like your ego and your competition is like softened because you didn't lose to your opponent, you lost to their deck. And it just completely takes all of this interpersonal stuff out of it.
So you're trying to really sink in that, like, oh, I got beat by my opponent, not a bad matchup.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, yeah,
but is that
think you should
I guess
take-
that's an improvement mindset. More
it's
so.
culpability, right? It's culpability. Yeah,
That's
you need to
interesting.
be culpable.
I think I mean it is oftentimes. I'm sure everyone listening has that one person at their locals, like, oh, I hit all my bad matchups. Oh, they had the cards they needed. But at a certain point, when it's that
Iona's
every
a lie.
week, yeah, it's like, well, no. At
Yeah,
a certain
yeah,
point,
yeah.
like, what are you as a person doing to be better than the person sitting across from you?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's important, but also it's just a fun. I mean, I think it's a fun way to look at the game, and I think it's a good mentality way to look at the game too. Because, like, the other thing that I think is useful about this like topic is that I think that if you are picking a deck, the bad matchups you take have a little bit more qualitative aspects to it than just like a win rate. So, for example, if I'm playing a deck, I don't want to play a deck that has a bad win rate in the Joltik box. Any idea why I might not want a bad Joltik matchup?
You just don't want to say you lost to Joltik. So like,
I mean,
I'm not
just
that.
because,
I'm
like,
not that
like-
vain. No.
Well, I mean, my theory would be that Joltik Box is a deck that pretty much anyone can play no matter what,
Mhm.
and that it's pretty consistent at doing what it does, and
Mhm.
you know, you don't want to lose to a deck that has weaknesses that can be exploited, and those type of things. That's kind of where my thought
Yeah,
is.
so I think this is directly to do with tone of performance. This is not to do with like mindset or anything. It's literally just like I think that my win rate against your average Joltik box player would be very similar to my win rate against a very good Joltik box player. Whereas my win rate against a average Gardevoir player would be a lot higher than a very good Gardevoir player.
Right.
So there's such a little difference that if my matchup is bad against Joltik, I don't think I'm going to be able to outplay them. And so I think I lose a lot of points by giving myself a bad Joltik matchup.
Right.
And so I would rather take, a bad, I don't know, what's a good example? Yeah, a bad Gardevoir matchup, maybe.
yeah.
Like, potentially, if I don't think top players are going to play it, maybe. Like, obviously, there's a lot of nuance to this, but
right.
Sure.
I would like rather have a bad matchup where I feel like, you know what, I can like wiggle room. And that's why people love Gardevoir so much, because even its bad matchups, you can outplay.
Really?
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Good mindset there.
Yeah.
I know you had some data that you recently did like a survey on that. So just kind of wanted to like, I guess, kind of go back to that a little bit.
Sure. Yeah,
Some of the people, not spending enough time with, you kind of made a good comment about, people liking deck guides, but not enough time on like general gameplay skill, right? Like that meta call only being relevant if you're in the 0.5% of player skill, right? I mean, how should players go about trying to improve their in general like gameplay skills to try to, chase that top 0.5%?
Ooh, excellent. Okay. So I'm going to break down this problem, and we're going to talk about it a lot. And then I'm not going to give you quite the solution, but we'll have a lot of good ideas to how to think about it.
All right.
So this is okay. So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions. Eric, if you wanted to practice I'm going to just keep using tennis because tennis
Sure.
is just so easy
Sure.
as an analogy. If you wanted to get better at your forehand in tennis, how would you practice it?
I would go to the court and I would find a wall and I would hit my forehand into that wall as many times as possible and as much time
Excellent.
as I have.
Okay, Maddox, do you have a different way to do it? Does that sound pretty right?
And that sounds pretty right. I mean, I think you'd also want to make sure that you have like the right forehand technique. So maybe have someone
Yep.
watching you to make sure that you're hitting it into the wall correctly.
Yeah. And I think that technique thing is good, but at the same time, like realistically, basically you have a result that you want, right? You want when you hit the ball on your forehand, you want it to be more accurate, you want it to
Right.
go harder, you want it to go in the right spot, and you can measure that. You
And
can
in-
do it 100 times, and you can see, you know what, the ball on the first 80 times wasn't going in the right spot, but the last 20 it was looking real good. How do you do that with something like sequencing in Pokemon?
Yeah, that's hard, right? It is hard. It's very every sequence is different, right? There's no,
Mhm.
it's not the same thing every
Yeah.
single time.
It relies basically on like full like external validation.
Yeah.
You need someone else who knows how to sequence properly or whatever to tell you that it's right or wrong. Or I mean, you can sometimes work it out, obviously, but like, yeah, it's much harder. Okay, so this is the problem that we've got, right? This is similar in a lot of ways. There's like, how well do you plan? I've basically spent the last 2 years working on all of this, right? So this is what I've been doing for the last 2 years, coaching people and everything. And so I got a couple techniques with some of these things that I'll share with you. So a good example is, okay, how would you practice planning out your turn? Any ideas, anyone?
I think you start with, again, thinking about what's that ideal goal, or maybe even a couple different goals. What is the best case scenario goal? Like, hey, I can win the game if this happens right now. Okay, if I can't pull that off, then what's my next best option? And then going through the approach of, okay, what do I need to get there? But then it kind of gets the more complicated. Okay, how likely am I to get there? How much do I need to pull this off? How bad is it if I
Sure.
go for this and miss it?
Yep.
All those different pieces.
Yep.
So, but
We-
in some sort of that sort of approach.
Yeah, for me, it all starts with resources. What's available? What options do I have? And then figure out the plan based on the options, right? You can't build a nice house with some crown molding if you don't have crown molding supplies, right?
Yeah. Okay, so you guys are working on the technique, but you're not working on the like whole thing of like getting the repetition in and like practicing it. So one of the solutions is it's another one which we'll talk about, but is basically you can modify the game of Pokemon. You can modify the rules, and you can target certain skills by modifying the rules. So I've got a game called Quick Search, where instead of drawing a card for turn, you search your deck for anything you want and you put it in your hand, and that's your draw for turn. It breaks the balance of the game horrendously, but you are forced to plan out your turn at the beginning of your turn every single time because you must choose the card, and you do it without even thinking, right? And this is really good for kids, obviously, but it works in general. It works really well. Yeah, I mean, you got to think about how you're going to practice it, not just get the technique right, because it just you
Yeah.
need both. And what we're missing is the way to practice it.
Interesting. That's good.
I know on your
I got tons of those.
I know on your like board awareness website, I've used it a few times. I was practicing, and there's the one question that'll pop up. Anyone's used it. It says, if you draw any card from your deck right now, what would it be? Type of thing.
Yes.
So you're thinking, okay, well, this would be good because then this would allow me to do this, this, and this, which is like towards my ideal goal.
Exactly. Yeah, it's good.
So-
It's good. No, I was pleased with how that turned out. I mean, it was very simple. Basically, the point of it was just to have like something that would ask the same questions that I ask the people that I'm coaching, while they play, without me having to be coaching everyone. So that was kind of my goal. It's like mixed use because it's a little bit distracting, in like an app form during like a game at TCG Live. So that was not like perfect execution, but it had some value.
It's an MVP,
had
man.
some
You're gonna
value.
grow on it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I mean, I think for what it is, it's okay. But yeah, so there's some cool stuff there. But no, I think these are great. I got a lot of these tools. I mean, I'll share a couple with you guys. So like Metronome, which is typically used as like, a side event game, right? When done properly and like the rules are proper, yeah, there's so many cool things you can do with it. There's like ways to practice different skills. Like you need to isolate them. And I think I talked a little bit about it earlier where like, there's not the terminology, like chess is really good terminology. If you had better terminology, and this is one of my big goals, is to have, better words. And I posted about that today, like, sequencing terms and stuff. You can actually break down the skills better, and then you know what you need to work on. But until you know what the skills are, until someone defines what the skills are, you don't know what you need to work on. Yeah, so I think that's a big part of it.
Fantastic. I think I mean, any other final thoughts that you want to like close us out with, of just ways to approach the game, ways to like other ways that we can improve those game skills.
So I mean, there is a lot. I think hand reading is really underrated. And I think, yeah, I mean, like I said, I could talk about it for hours, but we'll cover a couple things. So the hand reading is really useful. I've got a game called, like, you guys ever played Guess Who, the board game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So guess
So
what?
if you want to practice hand reading,
No,
yeah,
no,
no,
I
I mean,
haven't. That sounds cool
seriously.
though. No, I haven't.
Seriously, so what you do is you pull up your opponent's deck list on Limitless, right? Like in the image gen.
Sure.
You open it up in Microsoft Paint, right? I do this like all the time with people that I coach. So you pull it up and then you say, okay, what do they not have in their hand? What can they literally not have in their hand based on what they did last turn? And it's just process of elimination. There's no like vibes. There's no, reading their face or nothing. It's like, sick. My opponent got one gimme ghoul down last turn. If they had a Buddy Poffin, would they have played it? Yep. Okay,
Yep.
they don't have Buddy Poffin.
Yeah.
Would they have played a nest ball? Yep. No nest ball. And so then suddenly you get to like have a way better picture about their hand because
Right.
you just like cross out these cards that just
Right.
can't be there.
They have
Right.
to
They
have
don't have,
something.
research, and they, they're not doing anything. They
Yeah.
probably have boss, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So no, I mean it's such a good way to think about it is doing that. That's really useful. You just gotta be creative with like how you think you can practice because it's not like a physical sport where you can just hone one thing over and over.
right.
So yeah, I mean I think that's a really big one. Playing against yourself is great. I tell people this all the time. Any ideas why you think playing against yourself might be really good? Why do you think I might advocate it?
I mean, just like you just said, you think from the other side of the board, right? You're like, when you see both hands, you are multiple steps ahead, right? Oh, if I do this, they're gonna do that, right? Like you're already thinking about those pieces, because you see the options available, right, in real time.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, you're forced to see what the like opponent can do about it, which is really great. Like how they can mitigate your play. That's really big. And then I talked about this a long time ago, but there's a really big difference between practice and testing. And I think this is the most important thing you can differentiate. Excuse me, because I think testing is like a nonsense word. Like I'm really big on nonsense words, by the way. People just like same with the hand reading. Like I like ask people like, oh, what do you know about your opponent's hand? And like they'll go like, oh, it's bad. And I'll be like, what does that mean, man? Like what is it? Like seriously, when you say something, you got to ask yourself, what does it mean? And it, like half the time we just say nonsense. It doesn't make sense. But no. So on the thing I was talking about, which is practice and testing, can you guys define what I might mean by the difference?
Practice oftentimes, and people will say testing and then really just show up and play games of Pokemon against each other, just trying to win. Which maybe
Yeah.
that's closer to just a practice.
That's
and just,
practice.
We're gonna run the
Big
games
time, big
against each
time.
other. Where testing is
Yeah.
a little bit more of, hey, let's test this specific scenario or try to test
Mhm.
this approach to a matchup type of thing.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the one I recently did was with Goldango. We have a different version that we're working on. Is like, oh, if I put in more counts of boss, does it increase my win rate in this specific matchup? Versus and does it hurt my other matchups win rates, right? So
Mhm.
you're testing like that one specific card change or one specific, you know, archetype change. For instance, like with you with like Dragapult, Zoroark, you're testing to see do those two pair well together, and does the deck function against the meta,
Mhm.
right? Like
Right.
you're not
Yeah.
trying to like win every single game. You're just trying to see like does this idea work?
Yeah, I have to thank you guys because I just came up with a great way to describe it, I think. Right now, so even though I was thinking about this for years. Okay, so when you are testing, you're a scientist, and when
Yep.
you're practicing, you're an athlete.
That's right.
And that is literally the difference. So when you have a hypothesis and you're trying to test it, right? You have
That's right.
something very specific that you're trying to see. And so your deck, you're trying to figure out the decks. You should be playing open-handed. You should be trying to make sure you're talking to your opponent and that it's like the best play from both sides. And you set it up, or you undo, or you redo, whatever you need to do. You like modify the probabilities if you have to within reason. Like you seriously just do whatever you can to try and get your data. But when you're practicing, you're trying to like I said, work on beating your opponent. You're trying to, work on your own skills. You're trying to do all of that. And that's when you shouldn't be taking things back, is when
Yeah.
you're practicing.
That's right.
That's the
That's
big
how I
one.
like to see it too. The
Yeah?
scientist method. Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Scientist and athlete. Yeah, that's the way to do it. So
I always
that's a
struggle
really big.
finding good,
Yeah.
people like in that testing mindset, right? I'm lucky
Yeah.
that this podcast, Max and Parker, they're really great at that, but some are not, and it's okay, right? Practice is good too. It's good to have your
Yeah.
practice partners as well. So
No, I mean you got to do both. You got to do
you gotta do
both. And
both.
yeah, I mean you just kind of do a bit of everything. I think it's really good. Yeah, I mean, so my biggest takeaways are that I think I've had a lot of success in doing that over the years. Really breaking down when I'm practicing and when I'm testing, and typically practice is done online, and then testing is done with other people. That's usually the way it goes because you can get a lot of value out of practicing on live. You can't really get that much value out of testing on live. That's the big differences. So yeah, that's the really big ones. And then, I mean, in terms of all of this, where's this leading to? So I was kind of like talking to you guys about, so the big thing is trying to figure out how you like practice certain skills, right? Like the really specifics. Is that kind of the general vibe you guys got?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
How do we practice skills? Tell us.
Yeah, so I mean, that's what we were
Fair.
doing earlier.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing earlier, the Pidgeot, quick search, all of that kind of stuff. But I mean, I spent so long working on this, and I've been working on something for like 18 months about that. And so I'm in the next week, hopefully, it's going to be out. And I'm really excited about it. And I'm going to just be completely vague because I just want it to be a big surprise. But this is basically what it is. The theory of it is like, you need a way to specifically practice skills in an isolated environment. And I think I figured out a good way to do it. So we'll see if everyone agrees. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. So anyone who's listening and knows what the purpose of it is, you can kind of see if it works or not.
Here we
Love to
go.
hear that.
New
Henry,
stuff
love that.
coming.
Yeah.
Love that preview. Again, when people want to hear about this exciting new stuff that's going to change the way they practice and play, where can they find you about it? And any other shout outs you want to give before we close you out?
Yeah. So, I mean, a nice little preview. So this apparently is going to go live on Thursday. My hope is that it'll be out on Friday. I might miss that deadline. We'll see. You can find me on Twitter at benrybrand with a B. I mostly post on there at the moment, but I'm trying to use less social media. So I'm going to figure out ways you can not just follow there. And then you can keep an eye out for a website called perfection.gg. And you can see if that works out for you.
Perfection.gg.
And you can follow what's going on there. Yeah, it won't be live for a little bit, but we'll see how we go.
You guys have heard it here first on the Beach Court Podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited to try it out. I mean, I tried out your other website and I liked it so far. So, and we listen to all your walks and we're here walking on the beach here with you. So thank you so much. I hope you guys have enjoyed your beach walk today, and we'll have you on again sometime. Hope you go win Worlds. Lock in.
Big time. Awesome.
Henry,
Thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much for joining us. And
Pleasure.
everyone, thanks for tuning into the Beach Court Podcast.